Okay, so we're going to solve inequalities and graph the solutions. So let's just write that down. Solve the inequality. And graph the solution. Now, the only ones we aren't going to tackle today are when we have negative coefficients, because that's going to take a little more explanation, and I'd rather just break that up into 2 days. You'll see why tomorrow when we do tackle that, okay? So, 1 second. Okay, so let's go ahead and just solve a basic inequality. Let's say we have 5n is greater than 35. Okay? And we're going to solve it as if it were an equation, right? So if it were an equation, we want to isolate the variable, divide by 5. Okay, and we'll cancel that out. And we end up with n is greater than 7. Okay, so that is our solution. That's our answer. Now, the only other thing we want to do, though, is we want to display the solution on a number line graph. Okay, so let's just make a quick graph here, a number line. We'll put 7 at the center, a few numbers on either side. Okay, and so now we have to make some decisions. So 7 is not part of our answer, right? Doesn't have the equal to part. So we need to put what kind of point? Open or closed? Open. Okay, and then which side of 7 are all the solutions on? On the right. It's kind of visual when the variable is on the left. The inequality symbols kind of direct you to which side to shade. I kind of see it that way. Hopefully you do too. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Let's do another one. Number 2. Negative 12 is greater than or equal to n plus 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. Let's solve it. We want to get n by itself. Let's minus 8. Hopefully that's the easiest part of all this. After all the equations we've already solved. That will cancel this. And we get Now, when you get an answer like this, it's fine. It's an answer. It's our solution. And we're good with it. But I'm kind of a visual person. I want to do one last thing with this answer.
N is less than
Yes.
equal to 20?
Flip it, yeah. And we'll do what Gabriel just said. N is less than or equal to negative 20. Okay? So the reason is it's a little more obvious after we do that what our how it is we're going to graph. It's very easy to look at the first version of our answer and get the graph completely opposite to what we want. So if this happens, where we have the variable on the right, once you get your final answer, flip it, and here we go. So let's make our number line graph for this. And we can count by ones, by fives. as long as we're demonstrating what we want. So this would be, if I'm counting by fives, I'll make this negative 15, negative 10, negative 25, negative 30. Remembering we are on the negative side of things, so this is how the numbers work on the number line. Okay, so if we're graphing this now, negative 20, is it part of our answer?
Yes.
So that's a closed point. And this is telling us everything to the left. Okay. All right. Not too bad, right? Okay, so we're going to move on from one-step inequalities. Let's go on to two-step inequalities. All right. Number 3. Number 3. So number 3, let's try this one. 5n plus 2 is less than 17. And this one's very straightforward. It's 2 steps. So what's our first move? Yes.
We put -2 on both sides.
Yeah. Get rid of the constant. So that's going to give us 5n is less than 15. And now let's just get rid of this coefficient. Today we're not going to deal with coefficients like -5. And we'll learn why tomorrow. So we end up with n is less than 3. So let's make a number line for that. And let's see. And what do we want? So this was our answer. We want 3. Do we want open or closed point? Open. Doesn't have the equal to part, so 3 is not part of the answer. And we want everything less than that. So everything this way. Okay, so try this one. X halves minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 11. Okay, so first we'll get rid of that 5 with a positive or plus 5. So we get x halves is greater than or equal to, what do we get there? Negative 6. And now we'll just get rid of that 2 by dividing or multiplying? Multiplying, yeah. Yeah, we could view that as division there, so we'll multiply. X is greater than or equal to negative 12. Okay. We didn't have to flip anything. Looks good. Let's go ahead and make a number line because this is the graph we want to demonstrate. So number 4 will look like this. Number line, negative 12, negative 11, negative 10. And we want an open point, right? Is that correct?
No, we did close point.
A close point, yeah. It's got to be a close point because negative 12 is part of the answer. It's negative 12 and bigger. Okay. We'll do one last problem, if you don't mind. So number 5, and we'll call it negative 3 is less than negative 6 plus x fifths. All right, so let's try this. What are we going to do first? Yeah, let's get rid of this negative 6.
Which is 3 is less than x divided by 5.
3 is less than x fifths. So now let's get rid of that 5. So that's 15 is less than x. What's that now? Yeah. Here's another one where we have the variable on the right rather than the left. Let's turn it around. Let's give it a flip. So I'm going to rewrite this. It's the same inequality, but now we're writing it as x is greater than 15. Okay. So this is the one we want to graph. Okay. So I'm going to do the graph to the right. I ran out of room here. And put 15 in the center. You can count by 1s, by 5s, whatever you like. I'll do 16, 17, and we want open point and to the right. Okay. All right. Any questions? So this is what we'll be practicing today. Is anyone still writing this down?